Hey, this is Krista. Welcome back to MadeToBeWhole. Stay tuned for an introduction of AHP's inaugural team of health coaches.
MadeToBeWhole is intended for informational purposes only. It's not intended to replace the advice or care of a licensed healthcare professional. Participating in this podcast does not constitute a provider-patient relationship with Krista Michener, AHP Integrative Health, or any of the guests featured on MadeToBeWhole. Krista Michener, AHP Integrative Health, and any featured guests aren't responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from use of information obtained in this podcast or associated materials. Please consult a healthcare professional for any health-related concerns that you are experiencing.
Welcome back to the podcast. We mentioned a few weeks ago that we are going to have health coaches starting to fill what I think is a really important role at AHP. Just to kind of recap why we're doing it is we just have a lot of patients with a lot of needs, and we want to make sure that we have the right amount of staff time dedicated to people. And you will have the option as a patient in either paying for extra health coaching time by the hour or enrolling in a membership plan that includes health coach time. Some people need a little bit of support. Some people need a lot of support, and it's not good. It's not bad. It's just what it is. And we want to provide a higher level of service to those who want it. And we also want it to be fair so that it's customized to meet your needs. So health coaches can do a lot of different things. They can help you with actually understanding your treatment plan. They can work with you on things like gut health and sleep, but they can also work with you on just the nuts and bolts of dealing with a chronic condition. I will go to Lyme disease and associated infections simply because with that, I'm more familiar with it. And so I can give you a better view of what it might look like for a service that a coach could provide, but this applies to all of our patients. So sometimes people come to us, they have a new diagnosis of Bartonella or Lyme or Babesia or something else. And prior to this, they've never taken a single pill. They don't even know how to use a pharmacy. If I have them taking two things, they think I'm overdosing them and drugging them up. And it's just a huge adjustment mentally, cognitively, practically. So one of the things a health coach could help with in that situation is just helping people get organized, helping them figure out schedules, helping them figure out pill boxes, helping them navigate different pharmacies, helping them figure out what a compounding pharmacy is and how to get their prescriptions from there, and helping them work through just the process of having to pay a lot more attention to your health. Some people are dealing more with family dynamics that having any sort of chronic condition or a condition that requires intensive treatment can bring. Just like with every other group of people on planet Earth, patients with Lyme disease or other infections come from a wide variety of backgrounds. Some of them have great families that are supportive. Some of them have no family involvement. Some of them have families that are involved but seem to be working against them, and it's really, really difficult. You may have a lot of family responsibilities that you're trying to navigate, and you need help changing your expectations for yourself and communicating with others. You may just need some validation or someone to listen to. So what we've done that's unique with each of our inaugural health coaches is they are also peer support specialists, because they're people who have walked this path as a patient as well. And they've got some unique qualifications and can help in some different ways. So we will be also sending information to our patients about our coaches. And if coaching is something you're interested in participating in, if you have an interest in working with a specific person, you can indicate that, or we'll choose the person who we think might be the best fit for your personality or situation. So we have Megan Eicher. Megan has experience as a professional and as a family member of a patient with Lyme disease. Megan has a social work background. She has a master's equivalent in helping with family systems, family conflict, that sort of thing. She'd be a great resource for people who need extra help navigating difficult things. She understands that getting better takes time. It took her a long time to realize what was happening with her son and his health, and they ended up having to go out of state for treatment, and then came into our world in the last year. She also has a lot of experience in navigating having kids who may have special needs and how that can impact things. She gets it. She gets it as a parent. She gets the hard changes that sometimes need to happen for a whole family as far as educational choices, food choices. She's very hands-on, very practical, very, very organized. If you think of the homeschool moms that you know who are super organized, who have their binders and everything in a row, she's that person. She's just got it together, and I think she's got some great skills that can help a lot of different people. And I will say, kind of as a side note, we do offer the option. Say you need a health coach and so does your parent or your child or your sister or your spouse. We can serve multiple members of a family with a coaching service. And what we will do in most of those situations is, if mom and kid both need a coach, they'll have different coaches, because everybody should feel like they've got something that is their own, and that there's not split, I don't want to say loyalties, because we're going to take good care of everyone, but that you have someone who's there for you, and it's personalized care. So I think especially for parents who are looking for that extra level of support and need help with some of the hard decisions that go along with that, that Megan would be an outstanding asset. We also have Molly Rattay. Molly has a interesting background too. She is a patient. She knows what it's like to live with these vector-borne infections and have your life hijacked by them. She actually, up until very recently, was a public school teacher, but she wanted to do something else to make a difference and to help people dealing with the sorts of things she's dealing with. So she is going to offer two types of services: our traditional health coach / peer support specialist service, but also she's going to work as an educational consultant. So there are a lot of really difficult decisions that can happen when you have a child who has chronic illness, but especially when those abilities fluctuate so much. I know that was one of the most difficult things for me as a parent, is I had children who couldn't always do the same thing, and getting the school to be on board with, they're not lying. One day they may be capable of doing something that they really aren't capable of the next day. So Molly is going to be uniquely qualified to help people navigate the public school system, if that's something they want to choose to continue with, and how to advocate for your family for IEPs or other alternative educational plans, but also helping you explore educational alternatives, because there are some statewide charter schools, there are a lot of online schools of varying quality, but for some people, letting go of the idea that the school is going to work with you and make this happen may be the best thing. But that's something that you might need some support with, because you have to figure out then, okay, if I'm going to walk away from this school system that I believed in or I thought should be accommodating my child, where do I go? Is homeschool a good option for me? Is it something that's even practical, or I have the emotional, cognitive bandwidth to deal with? Or do I need to look to other support systems like tutoring or some sort of private educational arrangement or an online public school that can accommodate those needs? So you see, between Molly and her educational experience and then Megan with being a homeschool mom, how we can help you walk through those decisions, because school is where your kid spends most of their time. It needs to work for them. It doesn't need to be perfect, but if they're going to be in an antagonistic situation and with teachers and administrators that do not offer support or are doubting them, or it is so anxiety provoking for them to be there that you're spending all of your time dealing with school and the aftermath, it just may not be the time. I will say, on a personal note, as someone who has navigated all of this and tried homeschooling for a year and it did not go well because I'm not a good enforcer and I had enough other things that I needed to help sick kids with, like their health. We've done much better with the online school model. But one thing to be aware of, if you're looking at making alternative educational arrangements, if you decide to homeschool, which is fine, it's a lot harder to get back into public school and have all the work you've done recognized. So as far as credits counting, wanting to re-enroll, that sort of thing, it's going to be tricky, especially once the children are older and you're in junior high and high school where there are specific requirements for graduation. So those are just things you need to think through versus when we found an online public school that's worked really well for us. They still get traditional credits. It makes it easier to enroll in College Credit Plus. It makes it easier to apply to colleges, that sort of thing. But having someone to help walk you through that and just to listen and say, yeah, it's hard. They get it. How can we give you a shoulder to cry on, but someone who can help you with like very practical decisions? So if you are a younger person and you want a health coach, we also have some younger health coach / peer support specialists that might be a better fit for you. Some of them you've met on the show already. So my son Daniel, who's 27, who has Lyme, Bartonella, Babesia, has autoimmune encephalitis, has dealt with mold illness, all sorts of things. He will be one of our health coaches. And again, they're all going to do the same coaching certification so they can help with actual practical nuts and bolts, teaching, reinforcing things, but sometimes it's just having someone who gets you. And then we also have my daughter Isabel, who is 21. She's going to be a health coach. And so is Maggie Johnson, who's 20, who is a college nursing student, who also has encephalitis and some of these other infections. And so they have that lived experience. And I'll tell you a bit of a funny story, because when I approached Isabel about this training, I kept having this little inkling. I was trying to sort out what we wanted this coaching class to look like, and I was pondering and praying who should be our first health coaches. And I kept thinking of Isabel's name, and I thought, no, because Isabel doesn't like people. But I just kept feeling nagged. No, Isabel would be a good fit. And she meets the qualifications. She has an associate's degree. She's got the lived experience. So I said, Isabel, I want you to think about this. I'd like you to be one of our health coaches. And she said, well, that's kind of funny because I don't like people. I said, I know. That was my concern too. But hear me through. If you were little Isabel, if you were 10 or 12 when all of this started, and I was dragging you to someplace trying to get you help, and would you have rather talked to a 20-some-year-old college student who knew what it was like to be a kid and be sick, or someone your mom's age? She said, oh, I would have rather talked to a younger person. I said, that's right. So some of our younger health coach / peer support specialists I have brought on for the express purpose of being able to provide the health coaching and counseling, but also because we know that we have teens and young adults going through this, and they need people in their life who get it. Because even though they may have friends who are kind or family members who feel bad for them, it's still just not the same as someone who gets it. And so we will likely recommend in those situations, if I have a teenager who's sick and is interested in that service, but a mom who needs support, is do a tag team sort of things where you have Isabel or Maggie who works with the young person, and then Molly or Megan who works with the parent. We really want to shape it to meet your needs. We are doing some recruiting if you know anyone who would fit this qualification for our next group of health coaches. Because we have a large Amish population, we would like to hire people who speak Pennsylvania Dutch so that they can provide more culturally sensitive care. It does need to be someone who has an associate's degree or the equivalent of education. So that is one of the job requirements. But I know in our community, there are a lot of people who may have been raised Amish but didn't stay with the church, or have family members who are Amish. So they've got that language piece and they understand some of the cultural nuances, but they also have the education level that would allow them to take the class. And so anything along those lines, you can shoot us a message at any time and say, this is what I really need help with coaching. This is what I really need help with. I need you to hire someone who can do X, Y, Z. Shoot us your ideas, because we're going to keep it all in mind as we move forward and make these adjustments. It really is there to help you have more success, to have faster response time. You will not reach out once this is done to me directly anymore, or to the nurse on the portal. You're going to go straight to your coach, because your coach is going to be able to take care of a lot of it without asking me or the nurse. And then of the things that they can't, they're going to be able to help us prioritize and get to the most urgent things more quickly. You will have the option too of communicating with them via phone or via the portal. We're going to send people information, give you everything you need. We're not going to leave you hanging, but we're trying to build this to help people to have better resources, because ultimately the reason everybody is involved in this is because we want you to be well. And we know that it's a lonely path. We know that not everyone has the built-in supports that they would like. And I'm just really, really excited about the people that we're bringing on and the services that they can offer. One by one, I'm going to bring them on the podcast so you can meet them all and have a better sense of their great experience and what they have to offer and their personality. If you have questions, reach out to us. But remember, there are people who want to help. We're always trying to build a better engine, a better facility, better resources to help you in your healing journey. And remember to have hope, because you were made to be whole.
Have a podcast question or suggestion? Text or call us on the podcast info line at 330-439-0686. Thank you for spending time with me today. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to be notified when new episodes release. And remember, you were made to be whole.